We're kind of trying to fix the tax problem from two angles.
Okay.
One is here's the software. You can put in all your keys, and this gives you the tools to file your taxes. But
Mhm.
the other angle we're kind of working is going to exchanges and wallets and saying, hey, it would be nice if people didn't even have to use this do-it-yourself tax software. It'd
Mhm.
be great if you actually just provided the necessary forms.
Mhm.
So we're also working that part of the equation as well.
Okay. Do you guys have any kind of direct integrations with, the popular do-it-yourself softwares, TurboTax or kind of the H&R Block platform? Do you have something like that, or is it kind of more of a just like a download and then upload kind of
Mhm.
situation?
We really tried to make it as easy as possible to file
Okay.
your taxes, and couldn't do that without working with TurboTax, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you download these forms called the Schedule D and the 8949,
Hmm.
but you can hand that off to your accountant if you want. You can submit it to the IRS yourself if you want, or we allow integrations with actually TurboTax, Tax Act, and H&R Block Online. So if you're filing all your taxes with TurboTax, you just upload the form that we provide you and it goes right into TurboTax and you're done.
That's perfect. All right, hey guys, just wanted to say hello and welcome to the first interview we have here at the Innovator Disruptive Podcast. Really excited to have Michael Foland here with TaxToken. Give you guys a little bit of a background. TaxToken is creating the accounting infrastructure for the future. That sounds fancy, but it's true. Traditional accounting methodologies have struggled to keep up with the explosions of digital currencies. TaxToken was founded on a simple idea. It shouldn't be difficult to file your cryptocurrency taxes. Yes, I cannot agree with that more than that. Man. That is the
Yeah,
perfect statement.
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, just wanted to introduce Michael. Michael, let's say hello.
Well, hey guys, and thank you for the introduction, Jose. Yeah, we worked a little bit on that intro, but we think it's true. I say the accounting infrastructure for the future, and it sounds like maybe a bit of a tagline, but it's really what I see going on. Digital currencies have been exploding. A lot of people might think ICOs are a scam, and sure, some of them are. But if we just look at the investments in the space and blockchain as a whole, we just see a tremendous inflow of capital. We see more and more people using blockchain or hearing about Bitcoin, talking about Bitcoin, and more developers every day. So I really do see it as the future.
Yeah, no, definitely. I spent some time up in Chicago, the FinTech Blockchain Summit.
Sure.
It was very enlightening to see what they're doing with blockchain now.
Mhm.
You know, being able to track your food from your table all the way to where it was grown.
Yeah.
Kind of on that, it just blew my mind. I was like, you could
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no, it
The
was.
the tracking aspect of blockchain is incredible. So we
Mhm.
see supply chain management. And if you think about, for example, let's use a protein powder.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes a lot of like protein powder and supplements, they'll say they're very healthy or organic, but how do you know that? And, they're sourcing the ingredients from China, or, you go to the store and you think this is organic chicken or something, but how do you actually know that? And if you put records on a blockchain, you kind of have that extra layer of validation. And so I think as a marketing tool, it's important, but also just actually knowing that what occurred did occur is just extremely valuable in a number of industries.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Yeah, so I wanted to get into so tax token, man. Tell me a little bit about it. What is it? How
Sure.
did you guys get started? And just kind of,
Yeah.
tell us the whole story of where you guys are now.
Yeah, absolutely. So about 2 years ago, I didn't really think I would be an entrepreneur. I was going to school for business, and it was okay. I liked it, but being an entrepreneur never really crossed my mind. And about 2 years ago, my friend and I, Nathan, we co-founded the company. We were just in the gym, actually, working out, and his buddies texted him about this thing called Ethereum. I heard about Ethereum before I heard of Bitcoin. And his buddy was texting him about it because he put in some money, a few $1,000s, and it's just been growing and growing and growing.
Yeah.
And so we're like, what is this thing? So we start reading about it. And this was months before the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance got announced. And so we saw that and we really started digging deeper. And we must have talked about the blockchain, Ethereum, and Bitcoin every single day for hours, for hours, man. Like at the gym, like with our girlfriends, like at a party, like we're driving everyone crazy. We're like, no, guys, you don't understand. Like it seemed like this stuff could do everything, right? And so we both put a little bit of money in, and we saw great returns. And this was actually kind of my first introduction into investing, which sounds crazy, but it was for my friends as well. You know, they never had maybe been that interested in the stock market. Since then, I do follow stocks now, but they kind of saw this thing and they didn't really understand how it works. So, you know, I was getting texts and they were like, why doesn't everybody invest? They're like, I made 200% this week. They're like, is this what investing is like? And we're like, no, this is unique. Like, this is not going to happen again, right? Like, you're onto something good here. And you know, during that time, the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance came out, and we're like, oh wow, this is getting big. And we started to see all these ICOs just raise like mind-boggling amounts of money on nothing but a white paper. And this was about summer now, and we were going, you know what? Like, we know a lot about blockchain. We thought, hey, maybe we should try and do an ICO. So we thought about it, and we wrote up our own white papers, and we got really involved. You know, we spent every single day of that summer working, just trying to put together a team, tapping our resources, getting developers. And the idea was that it just shouldn't be difficult to do your cryptocurrency taxes. We were looking at the financials and going, wait, we were accountants, and not accountants, but we were in school for accounting. And we were going, this is impossible to do. Like, this is so difficult to do manually. So like that's what we're going to do. And this kind of accumulated, and we went to Bitcoin Miami in January, still thinking we were going to have an ICO. At that point, we had raised about $100,000 from actually our fellow classmates who had made money in Ethereum. They put together a fund, and they said this was their first investment, which is just a crazy story because their first 100K came from other kids in college who invested in Ethereum, and which is crazy, right? And
that's awesome.
Wild, right? And we went to Bitcoin Miami. It was this huge conference. This was when Bitcoin was at like 15, 16K. You know, everyone thought they were going to get rich. And we went to Bitcoin Miami, and we pitched an ICO, and we took second place. And then we were basically faced with a decision. A lot of people were offering us money. They're like, you should have an ICO. You know, this is what you need to do. But we also spoke to some lawyers, and they said, hey guys, you know, the SEC is probably looking at these tokens as securities. You know, we don't think you should have an ICO. We don't think you should raise any money. And that's through an ICO. And that's actually why we called ourselves TaxToken, because we initially planned on having one. But we took the lawyer's advice, and that was a great thing because it wasn't as obvious about a year ago, but now we see huge crackdowns on people that raised funds that way. So, you know, long story short, we wound up raising about $1.6 million just through selling equity, no tokens involved. And we basically put all of that money into developing this tax software.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice, man. That's awesome. I love it. I love this. I love those stories. You know, I mean, it's a very non-traditional, you know,
not at all.
You know, I went to school, and then I worked 30, 40 years in this company till I went all the way up. And then, you know, I love it. It's completely different because, you know, you are creating your own future. You know, you're taking a risk on yourself, and why not?
Yeah.
That's the whole point of it, you know?
No, it's pretty cool. It's a very young industry. That being said, all of our investors are older gentlemen, and they really help us kind of avoid some pitfalls that we would normally be suspect to. I'm 26, but yeah, it's been a wild ride for sure.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, so I guess let's talk a little bit about the software itself. So kind of, can you explain a little bit, just kind of a higher detail how it works and how people in this industry can use it? You know, people like me. I know when I first heard about it, I was like, yes, anything to make my life easier and to speed up a lot of this stuff. So
So, you know, at a very high level, we help you file your cryptocurrency taxes. What that actually looks like depends on the individual. Some people might have just bought some cryptocurrency on Coinbase, one other exchange, maybe Gemini, done some trading. Then they want to file their taxes. For them, it's very straightforward. They go ahead and enter in their API keys. That gives us read-only access to their files, so we
Okay.
can't make any trades. We can just see what's going on.
Okay.
And our software calculates the gains, losses, and then we give them their autofill tax forms. For other people, this can be a little bit more complicated. Maybe they're a cryptocurrency miner. Maybe they've traded on 13 exchanges and 3 wallets, and they purchased their first Bitcoin in 2016, and they don't know where those records are, right?
Yeah.
And we kind of designed the software for everybody. In the beginning, you answer about 5 or 6 questions, and this optimizes the software for you. So if you didn't mine cryptocurrency, we're not going to show you how to enter that,
Okay.
But, for somebody who has and traded on 13 exchanges, they would have to enter 13 different API keys. They might have to download a file from their wallet and upload it to our system, and they can basically use our manual entry feature for anything that they can't find records of.
Okay, nice, man. That's great. That sounds so much easier than having to pull those records. I had a client last year who I asked him, I was like, hey, I need your crypto stuff. And he sent me the link to it. And I was just like, because he invested in he's Coinbase. And I was just like,
Right.
okay, hey, we got it done. I got it done. Don't get me wrong. But it was just kind of like, yeah, there's got to be an easy way for this. Because he really started kind of moving a lot of money around. And I'm just like, no. So.
Yeah, we really tried to make the software as easy to use as possible. So we walk you through, this is step 1, 2, 3, 4. And something we do that's unique is there's a lot of security concerns with blockchain in general, and a lot of people are very security conscious. So what we did, true to the blockchain ethos, is whenever you enter any of your sensitive information, suppose an API key, even though it's read-only access, you can actually download a thin client onto your computer. So when you do upload your CSV files, we don't actually store any of that information. It's not in the cloud. It's stored right there on your local computer. So it's actually a form of decentralized security that's pretty unique to us, and I think kind of in line with the ethos of the space.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's really good.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome.
We thought about it a lot.
Yeah, I see you guys won the so it was the North American Bitcoin Conference. That's where you guys won second place?
Yeah, we did.
Okay,
we did.
Nice, man.
It was crazy, man. That conference had like Bitcoin Lamborghinis in front, and there were people rolling in on yachts, and it was not what I thought was going to be a work conference.
I've noticed that a lot of these conferences now, you think you go to and you expect to just sit down and hear some monotone guy kind of talk, but I've been to some where it's just, I feel like it's more of a party than anything.
I agree, and some of that might be blockchain, some of that might be the conference being in Miami. It's probably a mixture of both, but not a traditional conference for sure.
No, that's awesome, man. So, no, I love it. I mean, I love how you guys are kind of going out there and you saw a problem and trying to solve it. And, especially with, I know blockchain is really blowing up right now. Everybody's talking about it now. How to implement it, how to, how to get some of these companies to essentially invest in the nodes, and how to get that going. And so, no, I think it's great, and I love what you guys are doing. And I was looking too. You guys partnered with Sovos, right? And they're kind of more of a regulatory agency, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Actually, so far I kind of only explained our one line of business, if you will, and that's really kind of the TurboTax of crypto. Kind of do it yourself. You can go ahead and enter some information. Accountants can also use our system because they don't want to go through thousands of transactions manually. They can use our software to do it and just help a client with filing. But Sovos steps in, and bear with me because this will get a little compliance and nerdy.
No.
That's fine?
Okay. Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine with me. I mean, I looked into it a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know much about it, so I'm actually kind of excited to hear it. So
Okay, great. So Sovos is the #1 1099 form generator in the United States. They're partnered with over half of the Fortune 500, big companies, Facebook, Wells Fargo, et cetera. And a 1099 is basically just a form of compliance form that gets generated that you send into the government. And what we're seeing is a lot of cryptocurrency exchanges are trying to comply, US-based ones, and they're increasingly regulated. We saw the IRS actually file a lawsuit against Coinbase, first Coinbase to turn over records on 14,000 taxpayers. And so we see an increasing regulation in the space, and exchanges specifically are going to have to start making more reports to the government. Now, what we do, or at least what we intend to do with Sovos, is one of those forms that exchanges are going to have to start sending in is called a 1099-B. This is the same form that your traditional brokerage service would send in, like E-Trade or Charles Schwab.
Yeah.
And it gives you your gains and your losses. Right now, none of the exchanges are doing this, and if they did, it would make tax analysis a lot easier. But they're not. So essentially, our partnership with Sovos is we're trying to talk to these exchanges and saying, hey, you want to comply with the government. We think the IRS, the 1099-B, is going to be mandated next tax season. So Sovos can use our software, calculate the gains and losses, and then they will send the 1099-Bs to the appropriate government agencies, such as the IRS.
Man, I love it. I love how you guys are. I mean, it's on both sides. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that 1099-B is a lifesaver when you have a lot of transactions like that.
It's actually so ridiculous that one's not getting generated now. It makes it very difficult to file your taxes.
No, definitely. I know, because whenever it's not, I've gotten them kind of list of transactions from clients, and I'm just like, hey, you actually have the brokerage statement. Oh, I got to find it somewhere. It's like, I kind of need it. It'll kind of help me a little bit, So, that's awesome, man. I think that's great that you guys are partnered up with them. And then I see you guys are backed by Victory Square, right? That's I guess you can talk a little bit more about them, or kind of how you're working with them, or.
Sure. So the Victory Square relationship is actually pretty casual. We just talk to them from time to time, and they give advice sometimes. Victory Square is kind of a cryptocurrency investment fund, if you will.
Okay, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah. And when we won second place at the North American Bitcoin Conference, they just reached out to us, and they wanted to see what we were doing.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's awesome, man. I love it. You've got to. Those partnerships are what's going to kind of set you guys apart from everyone else. I think that's great.
Yeah, they're so important. We're kind of trying to fix the tax problem from two angles. One is, here's the software. You can put in all your keys, and this gives you the tools to file your taxes. But the other angle we're kind of working is going to exchanges and wallets and saying, hey, it would be nice if people didn't even have to use this do-it-yourself tax software. It'd be great if you actually just provided the necessary forms. So we're also working that part of the equation as well.
Okay. Do you guys have any kind of direct integrations with, the popular do-it-yourself softwares, TurboTax, or kind of the H&R Block platform? Do you have something like that, or is it kind of more of just like a download and then upload kind of situation?
We really tried to make it as easy as possible to file your taxes, and couldn't do that without working with TurboTax, right? Yeah. So you download these forms called the Schedule D and the 8949, but you can hand that off to your accountant if you want. You can submit it to the IRS yourself if you want, or we allow integrations with actually TurboTax, Tax Act, and H&R Block Online. So if you're filing all your taxes with TurboTax, you just upload the form that we provide you, and it goes right into TurboTax, and you're done.
That's perfect. I mean, the easier you make it for people, the more they're going to use it. I've noticed that.
Of course.
That's awesome, man. Well, no, I think it's great. I love what you guys are doing, and I guess if you have anything, is there anything else you'd like to kind of talk about?
Just kind of not so much on our tax software, which I could talk about for hours, but more on being an entrepreneur.
No, for sure. Yeah, sure. Let's get into that. I'd love to get into that.
When we first started, we were working really hard about a year and a half ago, and we kept saying, you know what, if we just get like this one deal, if we just raise like a little bit more money, X, Y, and Z, I'm like, I bet, we won't be working so hard after that. It's like, okay, these 70-hour weeks, I bet it'll go down to like 60, right?
Yeah.
Hasn't happened for a single week.
No, yeah, I'm in the same way too. It's like, okay, let me get going, and then you're like, okay, I can get to the point where I can hire somebody.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you get maybe the more labor intensive stuff to them, but you're still spending a lot of time on it, and it's just like, okay, all right, just kind of keep going. But I will say this: there is nothing like working for yourself.
Oh, that's what I tell people all the time. I'm like, it's more work than I ever thought it would be. I don't go out on the weekends, but I do it because I like it. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just, I think a lot of people might romanticize being an entrepreneur,
Uh-huh.
and it is incredible. And I wouldn't trade it for anything, but the sheer amount of, like I'll be working Christmas, right?
Uh-huh.
Like I'll spend some time with my family, but I'll be getting back to emails. It's
Yeah.
just, I don't go out on the weekends. Like I'm at home. I mean, honestly, sometimes when it's crunch time, like I wake up, I work, I go to bed, I sleep, and I repeat it for like a week. It's
Yeah.
just, it doesn't end.
No, I'm like you. Out of college, I didn't ever think I was gonna. I was just like, I always had this notion. Okay, I'm gonna go work my way up, and then, become partner or something at a firm, and then go from there. Never did I really think I was gonna go out on my own and just, be an entrepreneur and everything. And then just the situation came up, and I said, you know what, let's go all in. And
Oh yeah.
it's been a ride. I will tell you, it's there's ups and then there are downs.
Oh, absolutely. They don't phase me as much now, but man, one week you're just on top of the world and everything's going great and everything's working out, and then a week later you're like, I'm not sure I'm gonna have a company. It's
Yes.
really what it's like. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I can't tell you how there have been days where yeah, you have the good week and you're like, man, I'm killing it. This is good. And the next week you're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna get out of this? So
it's a roller coaster for sure. Yeah.
no, that's awesome, man. So I guess so you and your partner, what was your partner's name again?
Nathan.
Nathan. Okay, so you guys came up with this. I love it. Just talking at the gym. I mean, I can't tell you how many deals I've had too. Just sitting there, and then as you're thinking, as you're lifting, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There's, you know what I mean? And so, no, I think that's awesome, and I love the entrepreneur spirit. I love how you guys are out there, and killing it. I mean,
Yeah.
all of a sudden I didn't hear a TaxToken, and then it's just how, I see you guys just kind of blow up into the market. I'm like, okay, all right, I got to talk to these guys.
No, that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it really is like that. Yeah. You mentioned going 100% all in, and yeah, that was a decision we had to make. But before we did it, Nathan was finishing his last year in the accounting program, and he decided to finish it because he only had a semester left. But he was working over 80-hour weeks trying to make the company work, and finishing his last semester in college. And I actually dropped out. I said, I can either put 100% of myself into this. And keep in mind, this is when we started, so we didn't know it was going to work out, right? Yeah. So it was scary. I'm like, I can either, but I felt like if I didn't take that shot, I would always regret it. And I could always finish up college, next year, but yeah. I wanted to do 100% this and go all in. And so it is a decision you have to make. I agree.
Yeah. No, and I love it, man. I mean, you took a gamble on yourself.
Yeah.
And there's no better gamble to take than on yourself. That's the way I feel, at least.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't know. I'm my own cheerleader. My wife cheers me on great, but there are days where I'm like, man, yes, 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 and then there are days where I'm just like, no.
So true.
Yeah, I guess you got to need maybe somebody who's sitting out there. Maybe there's a young kid who's thinking about, has an idea and maybe thinking about it. You got a piece of advice for them, and maybe something like that, piece of advice or something?
Yeah. When you ask me that, all I can think of is kind of those Gary Vee motivational clips. If you know who Gary Vee is, he's all over Instagram and he talks about it. But, I think his advice in general is pretty good, and that you don't, if it's something that you will regret not doing, if you think 2 years from now, a few years from now, you're gonna really look back on it and say, I wish I did that, then I would do it, because that's just not how I want to live my life. And honestly, most startups don't work out, right? Like most of them fail. It's extremely difficult. It's also extremely rewarding. But if you think it's something that you really couldn't live without doing, which is how I thought, then you have to do it. And you don't need me to tell you that. Yeah,
no, for sure. That's the same thing too. I mean, along the same lines of the way I think, is people ask me, oh, what made you do it, or why did you do it? Well, just because, I had an idea. I thought I could do things better. At least in this industry, the accounting industry is changing big time. It's no longer about just, oh, let me file your taxes and let me do your bookkeeping, and then we don't talk to each other. It's more of an
Right.
advisory role. It's more of a get in front of, working with them to kind of help your clients grow.
Yeah.
And it's more being proactive instead of reactive. And so that's kind of where, I was like, yeah, I think I can do it better. And especially using all this technology that's out there,
Yeah.
all these cloud applications. I mean, I can essentially create an ERP system around one of the cloud accounting softwares, and instead of having to drop, $10,000-$20,000 on Oracle or even more, I don't know. I've heard it's really expensive to implement those really big ERP systems.
Oh yeah, it definitely is.
But no, that's awesome, man. I love it. So I just want to say thank you for coming on.
Of course.
And,
thank you for listening.
No, of course. And, if you guys need anything, check them out, TaxToken.io. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jose. Have a nice day.